Today I'm here with Sawyer Bartelt. If you're into collegiate sports, you may already know his name because Sawyer, I'd rather have Sawyer tell you. Sawyer, tell them about yourself and your wrestling.
I finished my senior year of high school ranked #1 in the country.
Senior 40 and 11 from Southwest Miami.
Sawyer's on a full scholarship to where, Sawyer?
Iowa State University.
And for what sport?
Wrestling.
That's as good as it gets, guys. So he grew a bunch of mango seedlings. His senior project for the agricultural program at the high school is to graft a bunch of mangoes. So imagine, Sawyer, if you wanted to put together the perfect wrestling team. The perfect wrestling team. What are the weight classes in college wrestling? High school wrestling, what are the weight classes?
High school, there's 14 different weight classes.
Okay, so what's the lightest?
106.
And what's the heaviest?
285.
285. So imagine, you get to go around the country and you just take a hair from the best 106, the best whatever's next, the best whatever's next, right? Take that hair and plant it into a baby. And in 4 years, you've got an exact replica of the 14 best wrestlers in the country. That's what grafting is, right?
Yep.
But we can't do that with people. With people, you just have to have a baby, and every now and then, you get the best wrestler in the country. Most of the time, you don't.
Yeah.
It's the same with the tree. We got to let the tree grow 8, 9, 10, 12, sometimes 15 years before we get fruit off of it. If we're lucky, the fruit tastes good. If not, we wasted 15 years. But if we graft, we know exactly what we're going to get. And we're going to show you a few different techniques of how to graft these mango trees. But the first thing we have to do is go out into the grove and select cuttings. This cutting has a cup end. So this put out flowers earlier in the season. A panicle of flowers came out of here, okay? None of them fertilized, so the panicle died and dried up like this guy here. It would have just died like this and fell off. And it leaves this little cup on the end. But what happens is the sides of the cup start to put out new growth like that. But that's too much also. This one has already pushed through. Now, if we came out here like 3 or 4 days ago, and that was just a little green bump, we'd be harvesting that too, okay? So we're gonna cut a bunch of these, and then we're gonna meet you back over at the table and show you how we graft them into a seedling. I feel like I need a booster seat sitting next to this guy. I'm usually the bigger guy in the video, but not today. Okay, so next we're gonna prep the cutting. So go ahead and take the leaves off. So step 2 is to just prep your cutting. So we're gonna take all the leaves off and give these guys a little scrub. And hand me the clipper. You still got your clipper, or did you? Here it is, here it is. Grab that over there. Yeah. Okay, so Sawyer's gonna take a little antibacterial soap.
Here's a little shower.
Just give him a little scrub. Okay, and while Sawyer does that, I'm gonna get out, we're gonna sterilize our knife with hydrogen peroxide. And so Sawyer, while you're doing that, I got to thinking, before I said, remember, if you wanted to create the perfect wrestling team, you take a hair from the #1 in each weight class and create clones of that guy, right? Well, another thought I had was like these cuttings. Oh, you can keep doing them. These cuttings are the potential, right? This is going to grow into a productive tree, just like a high school student is going to grow into a productive adult, right? But you can't just let the cutting go on its own, right? The cutting's going to need to be put into a seedling. It's going to need to be protected. It's going to need to be in the right lighting conditions. Someone's going to need to give it fertilizer. Someone's going to need to give it water, right? Well, it's the same for a person. It's the same for an athlete, right? You've got the potential, but you've had a lot of people in your life that have also supported and helped you to get you to where you are. And I think it might be helpful to share with people, because I think a lot of people are losing hope. I think a lot of people, I saw a study that like 40% of young Americans think hard work no longer pays off. And I love to, see how he's shaking his head? That's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And I love when I read a headline like that, because then when I spend time with a young man like Sawyer, or my son and his friends, and I see a bunch of competent, capable young farm boys, you know? You guys know how to change the oil in a car. You know how to fix a flat tire. You can get yourself out of a jam. My kid can go catch fish, cut it, clean it, cook it, right? I see those kids and I get hope because I know you guys are going to be hard workers. And I know you're going to make sacrifices, and that's going to be the results you get in life. And the reason I say all that is because I know there's a lot of you out there that are parents, and maybe there's even some of you out there that are teenagers who also want to be able to replicate what a guy like Sawyer's doing and what a family like Sawyer's family has done. And so part of this video isn't just to show you the grafting, it's to support him. And like I said, we are going to be selling his trees at guacfarm.com, guacfarm.com. But it's also to show you how he was able to excel and how he was able to take advantage of things in high school and is now going to be taking advantage of a college education. Well, that's the same with these cuttings, right? This is going to grow, this is going to flourish if it's given the proper environment, if it's given the proper nurturing, right? So they always talk about that argument, if you studied that in biology, like nature versus nurture, you know, right? This is nature. What we're doing here is nurture. So you as an athlete, I'm sure have had some influential people in your life. Like I see your mom and dad at every game. I see your mom and dad at every parent's event. I'm sure they've been to every wrestling match. I'm sure they've driven you 18 hours to some wrestling camp, right? Okay, so tell us a little bit about the ways your parents help support you.
I don't even know if I could put that into words. You know, like everyone says, I wouldn't be where I am today without my parents, but that really has bigger meaning behind it. Like, it's not something you just say. It's like you're expressing it. You're expressing your gratitude towards your parents, your gratefulness, your thankfulness, all that just completely towards your parents, because I truly would not be here today without them.
Yeah.
You know, those times when you get lazy, they
Yeah.
motivate you. Those times when you don't have a ride to practice, they take you.
Yeah.
Anything, advice, anything you need, food, dinner on your plate.
Yep.
All that provided by your parents.
Yeah. So tell me, why did you choose Iowa? What got you going in that direction?
So, background about wrestling. If you want to go to college for wrestling, colleges are not allowed to reach out to an individual wrestler until June 15th going into your junior year. That's not a known fact, because football, colleges can talk to you whenever they want, whatever age.
I didn't know that.
Wrestling,
Okay.
it's illegal.
Okay.
So if you're a freshman or you're still in your sophomore year, if a college reaches out to you, they can get in very big trouble.
Didn't know that.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
So to go on off of that, on June 15th, I got a bunch of calls so they're allowed at midnight. I got a bunch of calls from a bunch of different college coaches.
At midnight.
Yes.
Like they want to be the first call.
Yes. So if you're up there, you gotta wait all night to get those calls, and the next day, of course.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of calls, maybe 10 to 15 coaches called that in one day, and Iowa State called me, and they were probably at the back of my mind. I wasn't even focused on them.
Okay.
I had my focus on other schools that I really wanted to attend to since I was little.
Yeah.
And I got advice from my wrestling coach at Gladiator Wrestling Club, just a couple miles away from here.
What was that club again?
Gladiator Wrestling Club.
They put out a lot of good wrestlers, right?
A lot of good talent.
People drive here 3 nights a week from like 60, 80 miles away for their kids to learn to wrestle. What's the coach name over there?
Coach Duck.
Coach Duck. Duck
Yes.
Made, you guys say, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So if you want to be a good wrestler and you're from South Florida, I suggest you go to Gladiator Wrestling Club.
Yeah. So
They produce a lot of athletes.
so he talked to you.
So he gave me advice. He told me the number one thing he told me was to never say no to a coach. Never burn a bridge. Because you never know, one school you want to go to, they might tell you no, then that's your backup plan. So you never tell no to anyone.
Always reserve the right, even in business. If you don't have to make a decision right now, reserve the right to make the decision later, right?
Correct.
That's just good advice in general. If you don't have to make a decision now, put it on the back burner and wait. And that's especially if you're going to eliminate an option. So that was excellent advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very. So then, on top of that, Iowa State, their coach was the first person to fly down to Miami to come on a house visit.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I had them on the back burner, and that was the first coach to come to my house knocking on my door. They wanted to take me to dinner that night. Took my family, got to know my family, the whole ordeal. We took them on a tour around Miami, all that. So now they became my #1 option, and they gave me a full ride, so I took it.
And so this is what we're doing right now, right? This is you, and we're being Coach Duck, and we're being your mom and dad. We're creating the environment for your cutting to thrive. So now we want to make a cut in our seedling, and let's do this guy first. So cut it right about there, okay? So it matches the diameter, roughly matches the diameter. It's going to be a little wider on the seedling, but that's okay. Okay. Now I want you to make a split, not right in the center, a little off center. If you have to stand up to get a good look. So he's making a split now. Oh, you know what? Don't let me be the guy that causes you to lose your finger and blows the whole wrestling thing, all right? Be real safe here. Okay. Keep going down. No, keep going. A little more. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Now, so he just put a slit, and that's going to accept the cutting that we put in there. Now, take this cutting, and I want you to just cut a wedge down each side. Well, you know what you're doing. I'm telling you what to do, but you've done this before. Okay. And if you could do it all in one cut, that's good, but if it takes more than one cut, we'll do more than one. There you go. Actually, that looks, let me see. You know what to do? Like, see how it gets a little wider at the bottom? Make it more to a point. There you go. Yep, hit the other. That's actually good. That's actually good. Okay. Now, I want you to just put it in there. So, oh, wait, let's show the camera. So he made a wedge in his cutting, okay? That wedge is going to fit in the slit he made in the seedling. So put that in there. Okay. Now, you want to match up at least one side, because where the healing takes place, where the fusing takes place, is right on the inside layer between the bark and the wood. And we've got that same layer here. It's called the cambium layer. I'm sure you studied that in your school project, yes, right? Sir. So you want to line them up, but if you can't get both sides, you at least want to get one side, okay? And so we'll line it up, say, on this side that's facing us, okay? So line that up nice. And then this first technique we're going to use tape called buddy tape. And I know you mentioned you had tried to graft once a while ago, and you said the cuttings went dry, right?
Yes.
Okay. This stuff is meant so that your cutting doesn't go dry. I want you to start and just wrap your whole thing with that stuff, and make sure you keep like this edge lined up, okay? So he's taken the buddy tape, and this is like a real sticky gummy cellophane. See how it sticks on there? Now, he's going to go all the way to the top, which is what you didn't do that time, right? You just went around the graft itself. Okay. He's going to take it all the way to the top, and that's going to keep the moisture in. Oh, and by the way, that noise y'all hear in the background, that's my bamboo. Sounds like a pirate ship. Then kind of take it right back down after you've covered it all up, nice and tight. Yes. Now, when this pushes out, like remember we showed on the other tree where it pushes new buds? It's going to push right through the buddy tape. We don't have to worry about it. And you have it lined up flush, but what we want to do is tighten the spot, because this buddy tape it's not really tight. This is more to keep the moisture in. So I want you to go around the upper part and like a little toward the bottom of where you made the cut with a zip tie. And remember, you want to go, I always tell people, like, tight enough that if you were stopping the bleeding on your finger, but not so tight that you cut the blood supply off. You know what I'm saying? Just nice and snug. All right, so here's a close-up of Sawyer's graft. You see he's got the cutting wrapped in buddy tape, and then here's the junction, and he has it nice and snug with zip ties, and that guy's done. Congratulations. All right, Sawyer, since this is your senior project, let's see you do one, and when you get stuck, you ask me for help. And this one, we're not gonna wrap the whole cutting. You're just gonna make the same cut, the same wedge, You're going to tighten it down with grafting tape, and then when my wife comes out with the plastic bags, I'll show you how we make the little tent. There you have it. You can kind of break it off. Okay, now, this is what you've done before. And Noah, you're right on time, sweetheart. Come on over and we'll show what to do. Now, the next thing we're going to do, because remember, Sawyer said the last time he did a graft like this, his cutting or his scion dried up. So what we do is we take a wire hanger, and get one of the bags out of there, Sawyer. So we straighten out a wire hanger, and we'll put the hoop over the mango tree. Just stick it down in the dirt, and then Sawyer, you're going to go right over that with the plastic bag. And so you know, this was already watered. We're putting this away wet. Let me get some of these weeds out of here. These were freshly watered this morning, so this soil's damp. And we're not going to do anything with this tree for at least 10 days. So here we have buddy tape, and then we tighten it down with zip ties. Thank you to Orlando Backyard Gardening. I saw him use that technique recently. Now we're going to use another technique that I've had success with, which is we're using grafting tape. We left the leaves on, and we made a little tent out of a plastic bag. So there's our second. And this is where you get like the brown noser points. You know what I'm saying, Sawyer? Like, the project is to graft trees, but you're going to graft them in different ways. Now, what's the deal, Sawyer? Do you know what you're going to study when you get up there to Iowa? Have you decided yet?
Mechanical engineer.
Okay, fantastic. And what put you through? What made you choose that?
Growing up, my dad was one of those handyman kind of guys. Where I always had to hand him the flashlight when he was working.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've always had an interest in mechanics and how the way things work.
Fixing stuff.
Yes, sir.
You ever fix like the dryer, the dishwasher, the car, help them change the oil, all that stuff, right? Okay. So now we're going to take a narrow seedling. Excellent, excellent cut. Here, I'll hold that. Usually you want to do the cut last so that you're not touching anything with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. I'll just hold it so it doesn't, you know, get dirty. So you can go ahead and finish that up. But this one, show them the difference in the widths. There's a huge difference. The cutting is way more narrow. So you're gonna just really over index on getting it lined up on one side only. You talked about you started wrestling and playing football at age 4, right? Yes. What you're doing, July, what day are you leaving for?
Mid-August.
Okay, what you're doing in mid-August is 16 years worth of work, or whatever that is. 14 years, my math is bad as I get older. 14 years worth of work. You're prepping. And then you're going to do 4 more years worth of work. And you're going to prep, and you have a plan. So that you're making a bet on yourself. You're saying, I'm going to gamble the next 4 years, because you could get a job tomorrow, right? And you could work that job, but you're not going to work. You're going to go to college, you're going to wrestle, you're going to study mechanical engineering. But the bet is, the gamble is, that at the end of those 4 years, that investment is going to pay off more than if you just got a job right now like waiting tables or with a construction company or something like that. You know, but you're taking a risk because it might not. You know, we might have a recession when you graduate, you don't know. But statistically speaking, you're more likely to earn more. Okay, so we're done as far as grafting in front of them, but we still got a couple hours worth of work. But I just want to say, Sawyer, it was really good to get to know you today. It was good to get to know you and your family a little bit over the previous football season. And so I know the people on the team are going to miss you. You know what I mean? And we're going to miss you, but everybody's proud of you. Everybody's going to be following you. And again, if you want to get his grafted trees, or if you want to buy any of the mangoes we grow here, any of the avocados, you want to get one of these t-shirts, go to guacfarm.com. GUACFARM.com. So like I said, Sawyer and I are going to get going on the rest of these trees. While we do that, you go to guacfarm.com and we will see you on the next video.